and the stage is set for a showdown in West Bengal. On the eve, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee went head-to-head over who was stoking religious passions. The Prime Minister, who addressed 2 rallies in Bengal today, accused the state government of blocking Hindus from celebrating their festival. On the other hand, Mamata Banerjee hit out at the BJP and warned people to not get trapped in any kind of provocation. The political slugfest comes a day after Calcutta High Court granted permission to the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other organizations for a procession specifically in Howrah, the same place that witnessed widespread violence and arson on Ram Navami last year. And it wasn't just last year that we've seen violence in West Bengal. Unfortunately, that trail continued a few years before that as well. Last year, a BJP MLA was injured in Hooghly too after violence erupted during a procession. There were several other districts of West Bengal that also saw violence. In Dalkola area of Uttar Dinajpur as well, there was violence that was witnessed last year. The same year, 10 people were also hurt because stones were pelted at a procession in Hooghly. All of these places are believed to be sensitive as far as the Ram Navami festival is concerned. 8 people were injured as violence spread to North Dinajpur as well. In 2022, 20 people were injured, including 6 policemen during violence. This happened both in Hooghly and in Bankura. 2019, violence erupted during a procession near Asansol. Mob targeted policemen, they targeted police vehicles, they were set ablaze, there was arson that was reported from near Asansol as well. A year ago, 2018, violence during a procession in Asansol, Raniganj, Kakinada and Purulia was witnessed in West Bengal. 5 were killed, several others were injured, the cops were targeted as well. So who's responsible for keeping this pot boiling in West Bengal? And will this flashpoint have any impact when 3 constituencies in the state cast their ballot on Friday? Before we get into that, here's the story.
मुझे पता है टीएमसी ने हमेशा की तरह यहां रामनवमी उत्सव को रोकने की पूरी कोशिश की।
Mamata Banerjee instructed some communal goals to create problem in Ram Navami.
Joining me on this broadcast, national spokesperson of the BJP, Nalin Kohli, Anirban Banerjee, political analyst who backs the TMC. Tausif Ahmed Khan, lawyer and political analyst, will be joining us shortly. A.K. Jain, former DGP, also with us. Let me begin by asking Anirban Banerjee. We had the West Bengal Chief Minister come out and say that do not get provoked. There will be riots and the EC will be responsible. Why preempt violence? Why preempt riots?
Nothing about preempting. It is a track record of the RSS BJP. All over the country, and in perspective of West Bengal, we have seen in the last few years, if I'm not very wrong, it was from 2017, 2018 onwards, that this date of an auspicious religious event has been chosen by them to show their strength, not strength really, but rather nuisance value as to inciting communal riots, or at least attempting to do so. But every time the state police has thwarted their attempts, and that is why they have not been very successful in arranging riots as they used to do in other parts of the country, or still try to do in other parts of the country. And every year, I'll mention that in West Bengal at least, there are many events, religious, non-religious, both take place without people even bothering about the law and order situation. Nobody is tense, nobody preempts or is attempting to do anything that is against the peace and harmony of the society, except for this day. This particular date, this particular event, since the advent of the RSS BJP, has been a moment, a day of anticipating tension, communal tension, social tension, and the tension for the police about maintaining law and order in various parts of the state. Therefore, this is not really a very organic thing that happens in our state on this date. the RSS, BJP, their goons, their handiworks are always at work to work up or to incite some communal tension. We have seen in the last few years their rallies being taken out in routes which have nothing to do with temples of Ram or temples of any other god for that matter. We have seen people, their supporters, dancing in their rallies with guns in their hands. The Shibpur incident, the Howrah incident from last year, the NIA was handed over the case. They have arrested people from one particular political party, but the guy in the video, in the picture, who was dancing with brandishing a gun in his hand, who happens to be a BJP worker, he has not been even been summoned. Forget about getting arrested. So we have seen how the NIA or the CBI or the ED has been very extremely biased towards the BJP, and
Sure.
even in this case, they have let go the rioters scot-free.
Sure, but this one particular case that you're speaking of, the NIA has investigated the investigation is still on, several accused have been arrested. You say that a particular political party, which is the BJP here, has been let go scot-free. But there are several other cases which the state police has also investigated in the past as far as violence goes. How many BJP leaders were put behind bars? How many BJP leaders were charge sheeted in any of those cases? The cases that the state police investigated.
Many workers from the ground level who are somehow or the other connected with the BJP or some other organization of the RSS, they were investigated, they have been charge sheeted, the trial is ongoing, and that is for the courts to decide who is guilty, who is not. I will pronounce no one guilty, innocent until proven guilty. I stand by that principle of our courts, of our law of the land. Therefore, even in this case, the Howrah case, where the NIA has been handed over the investigation, when you are seeing a person, if I am not very wrong, his name is Shumit Shah, who is a BJP worker, brandishing a gun, what more proof do you really need? At least summon him.
Sure. And that's for the investigating agency to answer. But let me get in Nalin Kohli. Nalin Kohli, Ram Navami is not a festival that was celebrated in a big manner in West Bengal. We've seen the violence in the last several years, starting from about 2017, 2018. That's also the year when the BJP started making a renewed push, an aggressive push towards the state. That is the timing that the TMC is alluding to. Is that a mere coincidence there?
I've heard very carefully what the TMC sympathizer supporter has spoken. And what a bundle of contradictions. I mean, actually what you call is a delightful bundle of contradictions. First, at the end of his comments, he says, like a lord of justice, that I will not pronounce anyone guilty or innocent. I will let the courts do it. And for the whole period, from the start of the program to then, he calls the BJP and the RSS goons. He says they have failed in their attempts to do communal riots. So he's going on pronouncing sentence after sentence, but when it comes to any questions about the misuse of the administration by the Trinamool Congress against BJP Karyakartas, then he becomes a great lord of justice to say, no, I will not pronounce anyone guilty in this. What a bundle of contradictions. Astounding to even hear this kind of statements coming on television. And let's come back to the missionaries of the Trinamool Congress, the great missionaries of peace that they are. In Sandesh Kali, what they did with women there was about spreading love and affection and goodwill about Ma Mati Manush. I mean, on every front, they have failed miserably. And therefore, they build a false narrative in which they are willing to bring Lord Ram to this level, to the level of their dirty politics, in the name of saying Lord Ram is not even revered in Bengal. That's the sum and substance of what they are saying. Coming from a government that even did not give procession permission on Vijaya Dashmi on Durga Puja. Ma Durga is prayed. Ma, it is the land of Ma. Ma Durga, Ma Kali. You have Kali Puja, Durga Puja. There's nothing bigger in Bengal than Kali Puja and Durga Puja. In Durga Puja, they don't even allow the Vijay Dashmi procession because Muharram comes on that day. So Muharram can be a peaceful thing, but Vijay Dashmi will be communal. Have you ever heard something that is so constitutionally imbalanced? Something that is so against the spirit of the constitution? That Vijay Dashmi is a violation of the constitution and peace will break. But Muharram under the constitution, a procession would be right. Why not both religions? Have they not happened in the past prior to the Trinamool Congress coming to power? That Vijay Dashmi and Muharram has peacefully passed on the same day? Why should anybody's religious affiliations and practices be curtailed?
He calls Ram Navami a nuisance. I can't even believe that celebrating Ram Navami in the land of Lord Ram, which is India, you call it a nuisance. I mean, does he even have the courage to try and equate any other religion's procession or prayer as a nuisance? And I dare you, you don't do that. You mustn't do that. How dare you bring a religious thing to a nuisance? Take these bourgeois ideas of yours and sit somewhere and write a book if you want, but you can't run down the faith of millions of people by calling it a nuisance. And who are you to call praying to Lord Ram or celebrating Lord Ram a nuisance? Who are you to say it for anybody's God? So I think the Trinamool Congress has lost the plot. They have nothing positive to speak about, and all they are doing is running down people and their faith because they happen to be Hindus.
Anirban, you had your hand up. Before I get in the other two gentlemen, a quick rebuttal. You had something to say.
Yeah, very short. The RSS BJP is a nuisance to any civil society. It is not about religion, it is not about religious festivals. We have thousands and thousands of religious festivals held around the state all the year round. Whether it is Durga Puja, Kali Puja, Christmas, Eid, any festival from any religion, but no political party ever bothers about the law and order situation except for one this day. Why? Because this has been turned into a show of nuisance value, not strength, by the RSS BJP to try and incite communal riots all over the state. So therefore, it is the RSS BJP and their political ideology that is a nuisance for any civil society.
Sure, those are the allegations. Sure, those are the allegations you make. But like we were discussing, even the cases that were investigated by the state police, there's very little in terms of proof that has come to the fore as far as the involvement of BJP leaders go. And Tasir Ahmed Khan, I want to get you in on that as well. We have the Chief Minister this time around going on to say that there will be riots, and for that the EC will be responsible because they've removed the DIG unilaterally as well. The kind of statements that we are seeing will definitely cause riots, but you must not get provoked, is what the Chief Minister said to a certain community. If the EC is responsible for riots, if they happen this time around, then does that mean the state government was responsible for all those years when violence happened? Will the state government take responsibility for that?
You see, Poonam, the Chief Minister of West Bengal is appealing for peace, is asking people, the citizens of the state, not to get provoked because there are precedents. In the Ram Navami procession last year and even the year before, the Ram Navami, the so-called Ram Navami procession, passes through this one particular lane, which is which is dominated by a certain section of the society where there are places of religious worship, and when the procession passes, they throw stone on that religious worshipping place, and then they raise certain objectionable slogan, and then they commit nuisance, and then they provoke. And there is a precedent available with the police, and it is for this reason that police this year wanted to divert the route. And that is the point of contention. The Prime Minister is saying so shamelessly that the state government is preventing. How is state government preventing the procession? Please tell me. The change in a route to avoid a conflict, a possible riot-like situation, it's a preventive steps that the Chief Minister wants to take to maintain the law and order of the state. But on the other hand, what we also have a precedent. The same Mr. Modi, under his watch in 2002, Gujarat was burning. The same Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, under his watch, the Delhi riot took place and Delhi was burning. And what happened after Delhi riot? The court lambasted the police who are reporting to Amit Shah during the Delhi riot. And it is the same people who is in power, and the Election Commission, who because of the Model Code of Conduct effective, they are making decisions. Under whose instructions? It is a direct allegation from the Chief Minister that they are taking instructions for BJP, and they are removing the top police officers so that no action is taken against the hooligans of Jan Sangh and RSS and BJP, so that thus there is a tensions and there is riot, so that the BJP benefits from it in the upcoming elections. Mamata Banerjee has all the right to protect and maintain the law and order, to protect the citizens, to provide the security to the people.
Absolutely, I agree, which is why I asked you, Mr. Khan, for all those years when violence took place in the past, was the state government and the TMC not responsible?
I've just told you there is a precedent, and as a preventive action, the police proposed that we change the route, and the BJP and the Prime Minister is giving a speech that we will not change the route. We will go to court and we will pass from the same lane. Who is responsible?
But the
Tomorrow
court has
again,
given them
if
permission.
the same.
But it was the Calcutta
Well,
High Court yesterday that did put certain restrictions, yes, that only certain number of people would be allowed, that dates would be different for the two rallies by two different organizations. Some restrictions were put in by the court as well, but the court did give permission for the rally and for the march to go ahead tomorrow.
Poonam, the restrictions are always there. Law is always there, even if the court says or not. Yet people commit crime. What is the police to do? The police is there to ensure that the riot does not take place. And for this reason, different route was proposed. But the BJP is hell-bent on passing from the same route. Because these are conspiracy, they want trouble, they want riot, so that they can somehow, there's a perceived conception that wherever
I
there
must
is a
come
riot,
in Poonam,
Yes,
because
Nalin
this is a
Kohli,
rant
yes.
against the BJP.
Yes, Nalin Kohli, the
It's a
BJP is
rant.
responsible for
It's
all
not
things
even
that
an
go
argument,
wrong
it's
in
a
West
rant.
Bengal, seems like what the TMC believes. Yes, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I think people should pick up the Constitution of India and read Article 14. Article 14 is about equality of citizens. It is not about the majority's Hindu religion or supporters of it being demonized in the name of secularism. And Article 14 does not create this kind of an argument to say that the BJP is doing riots. What riots?
Article 14
Hear the
does
Prime
not
Minister
protect
and
criminals.
hear him carefully. I have not interrupted Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, I haven't interrupted. You had a rant against the BJP. I've heard it patiently. The least you can show is
Against the
show me the
criminals.
courtesy to listen to what I have to say in response. No, and what criminal? How dare you call the BJP a criminal? How dare you call any one of us a criminal? Who are you to say we are a criminal?
The political party
This is unacceptable, Poonam, and I'll walk out of this show if you are going to keep
And
people
political
who are like
parties
this to
cannot
call
be a
people who
Mr.
come on
Khan,
the
you
show
had your
criminals.
time. Tausif Ahmed Khan, you had
I'm
your
sorry,
time. You
Poonam,
made
I
your
will walk
point.
out of this show.
You
I'm
made-
not going to allow some person sitting there have a rant against my party and run us down as criminals.
I
Who is
agree,
he?
Nalin
Who
Kohli.
the
I
hell is
agree.
he to
Let's
say
try
that?
and keep this civil. Tausif Ahmed Khan, you had your say. Let him make his point.
Absolutely,
I'll come
I'm
back
keeping
to
it
you.
civil. I heard the whole thing. It's a
Mr. Khan, I'll
complete
come back
one-sided
to you.
rant.
I will give you your time. Nalin Kohli, go ahead.
He has had all the time, one-sided rant is going on, calling BJP criminals, painting it, go back to history and study the history properly. In India, read about the Muharram processions of Lucknow, which used to say that we will go through a street. Those also today happen peacefully under the BJP government. They used to never be peaceful earlier in the past. Under Yogi, it's happening. Check out Prime Minister Modi's track record in the 10 years as Prime Minister of India. Check out the track record of Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. Compare it to any 5 years of the Congress government in the past, in state or anywhere, and you will find that Congress and opposition party governments had a history of riots. The BJP doesn't. This is the one-sided false narrative built by a set of
2002
people
is false.
whose entire business model is to run down the larger community in the name of saying that we are the victims. A criminal is a criminal. A criminal can be Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Parsi, Jew. The BJP does not see the religion of a person. It is because of Mr. Khan and the Trinamool Congress and other such people that everything is being communalized, even crime. They will look at a rape of a woman in the eyes that this is what religion, who is the rapist and who is the victim, and then have a narrative one way. For the BJP, it is a woman, her dignity has to be protected irrespective which religion she is, and the perpetrator must suffer the consequences of law. The Trinamool Congress and such people as Mr. Khan and his other organizations have brought down West Bengal from where to where. They have converted West Bengal into from a land of culture, a land of respect for women. What was happening in Sandesh Khali? Now let's talk about it. Let's talk of the name of the Trinamool Congress leader. Let's talk about it and ask about the victims of which religion they are. How would this argument sound on television? Horrible. But did the Trinamool Congress even step in against Mr. Sheikh? Did they even listen to the cries of appeal from those women who were being horrifying being mistreated? Trinamool Congress has decided to do this. This is their path. The people will make them suffer through the peaceful process of voting.
Sure. AK Jain, I need to get you in as well. I'll get the TMC sympathizers to respond to this. But AK Jain, we're talking about violence that we've seen, unfortunately, for several years now. It happens every single year. Unfortunately, very little changes in terms of the kind of precautions that are taken or the action that's taken in the aftermath. Irrespective of which political party is trying to stoke tension, is it a political party trying to stoke tension, which is why we're seeing this on ground?
There is violence only when police works under pressure. If there is no pressure on police, if they are asked to maintain law and order and to take action against criminals, against anti-social elements, they might be Hindus, they might be Muslims, they might be any community, then there will be no law and order issue. For the last 7 years, Yogi is Chief Minister in UP. I have been IG Zone Lucknow 4 times. And there used to be always tension in old Lucknow between Shia and Sunni whenever the procession used to be taken out. Now there is no tension at all. Everybody is taking out peacefully processions throughout the state. So this is not acceptable that Hindus are creating trouble. If they are creating trouble, you book them. High Court has given permission to take out the procession. They have put the restriction on that numbers should not cross 200, no provocative sloganeering, and no DJs, no weapons. Fine. Police should be capable of enforcing these conditions which have been laid down by High Court. High Court has not given permission to change route, or they have not interfered with the route of the procession. If High Court, they must have contested before in the High Court also that procession should be, the route should be changed. Generally, routes are not changed. They are changed only with a government order. The routes always remain the same. It does not depend on the local people, on local police and local administration, that whenever they choose, they can change the route. So it is up to West Bengal police. If they cannot manage a procession of 200 people, if they cannot form a box-like security around the procession, and if they cannot take out a procession of 200 people, then it's a shame on West Bengal police and West Bengal administration and West Bengal government. Now she's threatening election commission. She has leveled charges against NIA, against ED, against CBI. I think Supreme Court is the only institution which against which she has not leveled allegations so far. This is not done. This is not done. This is she's Chief Minister. She's a seasoned politician. It is her duty to maintain law and order. She should come out in the press and say that police has to maintain law and order at any cost, saying that the riot will take place and then election commission will be responsible. This is absolutely baffling. You are giving suggestion to people that you indulge in rioting and then we will blame election commission. Election commission is there. Election commission is no doubt there. Election commission has a voice. They have to enforce neutrality in the state. But administration is always with the state government. In UP also, the DGP, Chief Secretary, Principal Secretary, Home, Chief Minister, they are maintaining law and order in the state. Whatever orders are being passed by High Court and Supreme Court, they are complying with it. They are supposed to comply with it. They are supposed to comply with the order of Election Commission, whether you like it or not. So, after every election in West Bengal, I have been watching, there is so much of violence. And I see leaders I have been speaking on channels, leaders are openly threatening that on such and such date in April, central forces will go away, then you will have to report to West Bengal police. What is this? This is not expected.
And it's the power of suggestion. That's really what Mr. Jain is also getting at, Anirban. The power of suggestion. The Chief Minister, is she putting the seed of doubt in the minds of certain people? She was referring or talking to a certain community on a particular occasion of Eid. That's when this comment came to the fore. The power of suggestion is there for everyone to see.
Okay, the very conditions laid down by the Honorable High Court is proof enough that what exactly happened in the last few years. Why did the High Court have to put in those conditions? No more than 200 people, no provocative slogans, no DJ, no weapons. Why? Because those were the exact things that the RSS BJP people did. They used us because what they did in the last few years was reason enough for the unrest that took place. As I mentioned before, they use provocative slogans, as Tausif said. They use DJ boxes. They use weapons, brandishing a gun. Brandishing a gun in broad daylight in a procession, you call that a Ram Navami procession? No religious procession ever, no devotee would brandish a gun in a broad daylight, right? Sir, I did not interrupt. Sir, I did not interrupt. Please let me complete.
No, 144 is always there.
What? No, I did not interrupt.
Whenever processions are taken out, West Bengal police cannot
Mr. Jain, I'll come to you. I'll give you time for rebuttal. Anirban, please finish.
So there have been these kind of usage of inciting and provocative slogans, brandishing guns, this and that is the reason the High Court had to impose these conditions on the procession. That is one. Number two, there are crores of people who participate, say in Durga Puja, say in Kali Puja, say in Eid, say in Christmas. There are crores of people in West Bengal, not thousands, not lakhs. Crores of people take part, participate in those festivals. Not a single incident of communal tension, forget about riots. Not a single incident, I repeat, except for this day throughout the whole year when the entire state comes to a halt in anticipation of something bad is going to happen. Some communal tension, some communal
But who
riot
is building this
happen.
anticipation? That's exactly what
The
I was
RSS,
asking.
BJP, they have done this. They have brought down law.
And how is the Chief Minister Chief Minister helping the situation? Is she trying to calm it down, or is she trying to stoke those passions further by saying yes, there'll be riots and the EC will be responsible?
No. So when you have cancer in your body, say for example, what do? Ignore it. You do nothing about it. You don't go to the doctor. You don't
An eye
want
for an
the
eye
patient.
can't really be the answer. It definitely
What is
can't
eye
be
for
the
an eye?
answer as
Please,
far
appealing
as
for
the law and
peace.
order is concerned. But AK Jain, you had to come in. You wanted to make a point.
I'm saying
Poonam, let me
that
also come.
whenever such processions are taken out, Section 144 is in place. Whenever permission is given to take out a procession, certain conditions are laid down by police and local administration, by local SDM, the ACP or CO, whatever you call them. So, and if West Bengal police, is it so incompetent that they can't tell people not to brandish weapons? Weapons should be seized. Such people should be caught. They should be put behind bars.
Yes,
If action will be
sir.
taken against
You are
5-10
very
people, there will be no such thing. For
very right, sir.
every community, I'm saying, whether Muslims are taking out procession or Hindus are taking out procession, in UP also we have been doing it. I have been in civil police for 37 years in the state. West Bengal is not so communally sensitive as Uttar Pradesh, but we used to enforce all this. If you just give up, if you just give up.
The person
Sure, so
brandishing
in
a
the
gun
end-
was arrested by West Bengal police but let off by the NIA. That is the point. That is the thing I'm pointing out. The person brandishing a gun was arrested by West Bengal police, but the NIA let him off.
Sure. So another investigating agency, a central agency, which the state government now accuses of acting at the behest of the BJP, came and let off this particular accused. But this is one instance that we're talking about. The state government has been investigating cases for several years now. But yes, Mr. Khan, you had a point to make. Before I get in, Nalan Kohli. Yes.
You see, Poonam, Mr. Jain very rightly said that if a police officer, if the senior police officer do not want, then there will be no riot at all. And that is my point. That Mamata Banerjee is not being allowed to choose the senior police officer. Is the election commission interfering and changing the senior police officer in the district? And that is why she is saying that I cannot be held responsible. Then election commission is held responsible because on ground, the police officers on ground take orders from their bosses.
Sure, I take your point, sir. I take your point, which is exactly why I asked you that if this year the election commission has removed the top cop and that's why the EC will be responsible, then for all the past years when violence took place, when law and order was in the state government's hand, was the state government and the chief minister, who's the home minister of the state, also responsible?
Perfect.
Nalan Kohli.
Yes, Gujarat 2002.
Absolutely, that's the
Yes,
sum of it.
Delhi
Sure.
riot
I said,
also.
as far as 1 minute, may I just finish? 1 minute.
Yes,
Let
Nalan
me stop going back to 2002 and why don't we start from 1947? Why don't we talk about Nokhali? Why don't we talk about the hundreds of riots that have
Why
taken
you
place?
scared of
If you want a
taking
history
name
on
of
the
Mr.
lesson
Modi?
on riots, we'll do that. One riot you'll pick up and do that, and in which also.
What is fact
in
is
which
fact.
also.
Mr. Modi,
There were
Mr.
FIRs
Modi,
filed,
don't be
there was
scared of
action
taking
by
name
law,
of
and
Mr.
those
Modi.
people have been punished.
Tasif Khan, you made your point.
Nothing.
I have very
Mr.
little
Khan,
time
don't
left
try
on this
your
debate.
communal
Nalan
agenda
Kohli,
with
please.
me.
Yes, Nalan Kohli,
So
continue.
let me come back on my point.
Yeah.
So I'll come back on the point.
The core point is, in the beginning of the debate, I started with a sentence: the Trinamool Congress and its supporters and leaders are a bundle of contradictions. If the EC comes in and if a riot happens or if violence happens, the EC is responsible. But then everything before that, as you rightly pointed out, with Mamata Banerjee as the Home Minister, Chief Minister, Home Minister, then she should take responsibility. Mr. Khan must be complimented for giving this wonderful point. In fact, this should be spread among all the voters, that Mr. Khan has actually said that if the logic, which is the corollary of his logic is EC is responsible, and we agree with Mamata Banerjee, so the corollary of it is whatever happened before that, Mamata Banerjee and a government are responsible. It's as simple as that. And second, Mr. Jain, with his experience, has brought in some very, very valid points. And those points come from a professional. Beyond all the politics, if West Bengal government, like all the other states, simply allows the professionals to do their job, in this case the West Bengal police, you won't have a problem. It is because of the interference by the West Bengal government to promote people like Shah Jahan Sheikh that you have a mess up of the law and order.
And let's keep the politics aside. Tomorrow is a day that is marked as auspicious by many in this country. Let's keep it to that for the sake of the people of West Bengal. Let's hope that tomorrow is not marred by violence, as we have unfortunately seen in the past. On that note, I have to thank you all gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast on this debate. It is time for a quick break on brass tacks, but on the other side, we have the showdown over constitution. Is it under attack as the opposition claims, or is the BJP firm in what it says? We'll take that up next.
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilsai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilsai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time out. I know that the campaign is upon you and you've been out there every day of the week. How much is the BJP's campaign in Tamil Nadu, and I'm talking first of the overall picture, not just of your constituency, leveraging Prime Minister Modi's brand equity?
I thank
Welcome back. Is India's constitution under attack? Is the BJP trying to alter the constitution? Well, amid those questions being raised by the opposition, today Prime Minister Modi accused the opposition of resorting to fear-mongering. His counter comes after several leaders within the India bloc, including Rahul Gandhi, repeatedly claimed that BJP would attempt to drastically change the constitution, that democracy would be in danger if BJP is voted to power for a third term. Prime Minister Modi today asserted that no one can change the very nature of the constitution. While those political fireworks erupted, let's not forget constitutional changes have been made in the past. They are hardly rare in India. The Indian constitution, in fact, has been changed over 100 times since its adoption. So then, is the opposition guilty of scaremongering in election season? That's the question we ask on Brass Tacks tonight.
The RSS and the BJP are trying to destroy India's constitution and change India's constitution. The Congress Party and the India Alliance is trying to save the constitution of India.
देश की युवा पीढ़ी को देश की गौरवशाली संविधान के निर्माण की प्रक्रिया, उसके अध्याय, उसका महत्व बताएंगे। संविधान दलित, पिछड़ा, आदिवासी की ताकत बना रहे, इसके लिए हमें एकजुट होकर साथ खड़े रहना है।
Joining me on this debate, National Spokesperson Nalin Kohli, Mahima Singh, spokesperson of the Congress, joins us as well. Let me open this up by asking spokesperson of the Congress. Mahima Singh, several changes have been made in the constitution in the past as well, most of which happened during the Congress's time, given how much time the Congress has been in power. Then why rake up this change in constitution or altering the constitution drastically against the BJP? Why this allegation now? Mahima Singh? We'll try and reconnect that line with Mahima Singh of the Congress, but Nalin Kohli continues to be with us. Nalin Kohli, we've heard the kind of fireworks that have happened on both sides. The Prime Minister has made the stance of the BJP clear today, but there were several leaders of the BJP, including a former Union Minister, Anant Hegde, who had come out and made these statements. Do you think that's perhaps what gave ammunition to the opposition?
No, I don't think so, because that was clarified at that time only. We need to understand the constitution. As Indian citizens, irrespective whether we are in the BJP, Congress or any other political party, we have certain rights. Those rights also include the freedom of expression and speech. So in this case, Mr. Hegde exercised that expression of freedom of expression and speech. But that was not the party's line. The party made it clear immediately. Now let's come to the constitution. As you correctly pointed out, about 105 constitutional amendments have taken place. The first one in 1951 even amended Article 19, which is freedom of expression and speech, by when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister of India. Reasonable restrictions were brought onto speech. It was not an absolute right. So therefore, does that mean that the Congress party decided to cut down on freedom of speech? So these are arguments that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and others try to manufacture to build a narrative or to build a tagline for maybe the campaign of the day. They are not bound by any facts. Where is the BJP tinkering with that? When a constitutional change happens, it happens because a need is felt for something, like the 73rd Amendment or Panchayati Raj 74th. All of these amendments are brought in by Parliament, which includes all political parties. The problem that today is happening in the country is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the anointed leader, selected leader, anointed leader of the Congress party. There is a whole mechanism of script writers perhaps who come out with a statement that this is what you should say. But when he today raised the question of the constitution being in danger, nobody perhaps advised him that he scored a self-goal. Because the only time the constitution of India has been under threat was in 1975 for 19 months when Shrimati Indira Gandhi, and we do know that late Shrimati Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, how she is related to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, when Shrimati Indira Gandhi imposed emergency, fundamental rights which are guaranteed under Part 3 of the Constitution, all of them were suspended. Every opposition leader was thrown into jail, kept in jail for 19 months. People, innocent people went into jail. Atrocities happened. The press was censored. Those were the dark days of democracy. Now when he or the Congress or anyone does go out and say that the constitution is in danger
So what do they talk about this dark period from 1975 to 77, 19 months? The celebration of constitutional values by the Congress party when it was in power. So it's a classic self-goal in trying to come up with a statement probably written by some marketing person.
Mahima Singh, if you heard what Nalan Kohli was saying, the Congress is no one to lecture the BJP or anyone for that matter as far as upholding constitution is concerned, because the Congress government was the one that gave India emergency.
Jai Hind. I could hear somewhat because there was a network glitch. When I was reconnected, I heard somewhat. But you see, when you talk about fear-mongering, when the word is uttered, it is the BJP that has much to answer. When the Prime Minister speaks like a tyrant in saying that he's not here to scare anybody and nobody needs to be scared. I heard Mr. Kohli was talking about emergency. So even during the emergency or, before that or after that, can you recount if there is a Prime Minister who would have not done a press conference for 10 years, for so long as their term was? Across democratic countries, can you recount any Prime Minister who's not addressed the press for 10 years, that long a tenure? Any Prime Minister who denies plurality in a democratic country? Any Prime Minister who only talks about ek akela sab par bhari, main, it's all about his ego, and which is why he says no need to be scared. All the BJP needed to do today was to say that our MPs have actually gone wrong in saying that we won't reframe the Constitution. Neither the Prime Minister denied, nor the BJP spokesperson here will deny in clear-cut words.
He did actually. He did at the beginning when your network was lost. He did at the beginning that these leaders have come out and clarified that's not the party line. The BJP is very clear on that.
But you see what they are doing when they are speaking like that we need 400 plus, 3 MPs in 3 different states at 3 different stages. One actually said that before his ticket was announced, and then it was denied later on. Then Jyoti Mirdha and now Lalu Singh. That is their secret plan, and that is what they are set out to do. Everybody knows that by now, and we have seen how they have spuriously amended the laws in the past. You say that it is the Congress who has affected most of the amendments. That is because we have ruled. That is because we have ruled the country for the longest years so far after the freedom was achieved. But what about the BJP? You see, they suspend the most number of members of parliament. They mute the mics in the parliament. They pass the bills, in a very unscrupulous manner. We are gasping for oxygen during COVID, and there is the BJP bringing a farm laws bill through backdoor.
But why do you say these bills are passed? These bills are passed spuriously or not in means that are meant to be. They are passed in Parliament. Many of the times when these bills are put to vote, unfortunately, the opposition members of Parliament have walked out.
Let me say, because electoral bonds, we have seen the fate electoral bonds has met at the hands of the Supreme Court. It was brought as a money bill. It should have been discussed. Something like an electoral bond, which will have all the stakeholders on the same table, should have been discussed by all the stakeholders, but it wasn't. It was brought by the way of a money bill. Similarly, farm bills. Similarly, the 100th Amendment, where GST was, implemented in a wrongful manner. So everything that this government does is so secretive.
Sure. So
they
the allegation,
don't want to take opposition on record. They don't want to take opposition in confidence. Whether it is China today, you see, Sonam Wangchuk is protesting in Ladakh, but the government doesn't want to talk about it. So Constitution is something, although they won't be able to touch it because the forefathers have had a very deep vision in designing it. But the BJP's plans are very nasty and notorious. The Prime Minister only is set out to rule this country till 2047 by himself. He doesn't believe in democracy. He believes in autocracy. That is what he walks, talks, eats every day.
Sure, these allegations have been made by the Congress and many others in the opposition for numerous occasions now, that democracy is under danger. We've had Rahul Gandhi say this multiple times as well. But Nalan Kohli, the allegation against the BJP is that sure, these bills have been passed and these constitutional amendments have been made because of a stamp of approval from the parliament, but all of these bills were brought in via the back door.
So I heard Mahima ji very carefully, the Congress spokesperson, and I was trying to, in my limited manner, try to understand what is the link between emergency and the Prime Minister hasn't done a press conference like other Prime Ministers. I really tried my best to try and find whether there was a link on an argument that says that when the Congress party's top leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, says the constitution is in danger and forgets about emergency, and when in my capacity as a BJP spokesperson, when I raise that the only time the constitution was in danger was during emergency imposed by Shrimati Indira Gandhi directly from the Nehru Gandhi family, the grandmother of Rahul Gandhi ji. When every leader was put in jail, the answer actually was Prime Minister hasn't done press conferences. The latest, of course, was the media interaction of the Honorable Prime Minister with ANI News Network. I mean, he's had several interactions, but I don't expect the Congress party to really want to listen to it because they are so focused on what Mr. Rahul Gandhi says, and after which how many of them have to come out and clarify what he has said. So this is a Congress narrative. They are entitled to build a political narrative. The facts are not with them. The constitution, in fact the preamble was amended also by the constitution by the Congress party, which is the 46th amendment. So there are questions about that also. Could you have in the basic structure gone ahead and amended the preamble? But these are larger legal questions, we don't need to go here. The fact of the matter is, let's go into the election on why this statement perhaps has come from Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Basically, in this election, there are two things that the BJP is banking on. Prime Minister Modi's leadership, his popularity, and the fact that as the Pradhan Sevak, as he calls himself, he's delivered. And the second is the agenda and the performance of the government, which means the track record. On both, there is a serious problem that the Congress party has. Because 10 years of Narendra Modi ji's government is perhaps equal to 55 years of the Congress who was in government. So if I just pick up, say, national highways, 91,000 kilometers of national highways existed in India when Prime Minister Modi became Prime Minister, which means including all the Congress regime. And today they are about 1,46,000 kilometers, which means 50% of the highways built in India, 50,000 kilometers, is more than 50% of the highways built by the Congress party in 70 years.
Sure.
It's a lot of work. So I mean, basically they don't have a positive narrative. Whether it's toilets, whether it is bank accounts, whether it is anything, gas connections, railways, metro, airports, 74 to 150, there is a track record.
Sure.
On the other side, you have
it's the NDA track record
India
versus
Alliance
the UPA.
crafted. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Sure. Yeah, we're talking about track records here, but I have limited time. Yes, I have limited time. Narendra Kohli, 30 seconds if you could finish your point, I can get into Mahima as well.
It is Mr. Rahul Gandhi is unable to either come out with something to say on leadership or performance. Therefore, you pick up an obscure concept, like India is like a beehive, like the escape velocity of Jupiter. So you pick up another one, potato you put in, you get gold. So the new one now is constitution is in danger. So I mean, you just manufacture a line, and then the whole Congress party has to scramble, literally scramble, all spokespersons everywhere, to try and explain it when the facts don't count up to this sentence.
This is just rhetoric, Mahima Singh. This is just a narrative that the opposition led by the Congress is trying to spin, because can the Congress actually deny, sure, you said yes, we've made all the amendments because we've been in power for much longer than anybody else. But can the Congress deny that you also did bring in an amendment in the constitution which ensured that the Prime Minister and several other elected representatives would not be brought under the scrutiny of Indian courts? This was done during the emergency.
Poonam, I was hearing the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Kohli, was talking about, us desperately looking for a narrative. I would, straightforwardly deny that. And I'm prompted to say here that it is not the Congress or it is not our revered leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who brought up the constitution narrative. It is their MP first, Anant Hegde, then Jyoti Mirdha, then Lalu Singh, who repeatedly, one after the other, you see, and that cannot be a mistake. A mistake happens once. If one after the other, the public representatives are speaking like, isn't as Jyoti Mirdha is speaking that they are here to reframe the constitution, that's why they want 400 plus. It's not a mistake. It is a plan, it is a mission, and it is out there in public. Mr. Rahul Gandhi just reiterated it for everybody to know and see, those who may not have heard, those MPs. And the BJP did not rectify it once, twice. And now when it has happened the third time, the BJP is desperately looking for somewhere to hide, which is why the Prime Minister is now coming out and saying in a very planned, orchestrated ANI interview, which by no means can be counted as a press interaction, because you and I know very well, you are a very seasoned journalist and you would agree, in a press interaction, the press freely asks questions which the BJP doesn't believe in. Freedom of press is like an alien concept to the BJP, because that is why in the last 10 years...
Freedom of press argument that you are using is the freedom of speech argument that the BJP was using when they...
20-second counter.
Yes, I'll come to you, Nalin Kohli, but Mahima Singh... Yes, I'll come to you, Nalin Kohli, but Mahima Singh, you still haven't answered my question. You say the constitution is under attack now because of the comments that have come to the fore from certain BJP leaders. Was the constitution not under attack by the acts of certain Congress leaders and Congress governments in the past?
Congress governments, one is Poonam, once and for all, will the BJP stop crying foul because we have apologized for emergency, the wrong that was done? Will the BJP apologize for Mahatma Gandhi's assassination and 2002 Godhra? They will not. They will say we have gotten a clean sheet after 20 years of the incidents. What about those 20 years? Did the BJP apologize before this country in those 20 years? They did not. We did what we needed to do. The BJP has imposed an undeclared emergency on this country, and we are all bearing the brunt of it, so that we don't. 2024
Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time, but Nalin Kohli, 20 seconds before I wrap this up. You have
one sentence, only one sentence, only one sentence, only one. Because Mahima ji has made an argument that 3 BJP leaders spoke and came up with this sentence, so this is the BJP line. That's the crux of our argument. One Kerala leader, senior leader of the Congress party in the last election called Mr. Rahul Gandhi a joker. So would that mean that the Congress party considers Rahul Gandhi a joker?
Yes, Mahima Singh.
3 leaders, one after the other. It's not a one-off incident. 3 leaders, one after the other.
I'm using the logic.
No,
I'm just simply pointing out your logic.
Unfortunately, Mahima Singh, there are multiple comments like this that have been made by Congress leaders, and the Congress has distanced themselves from it. But talking about the constitution, is it really in danger or not, or is this just political rhetoric that we see in election season? Unfortunately, I have to leave it at that. I thank you both for joining us here on this broadcast. It's a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for tuning in.
लाखों की संख्या में
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is a BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds, but as you know, viewers, sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilsai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilsai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time out. I know that the campaign is upon you and you've been out there every day of the week. How much is the BJP's campaign in Tamil Nadu, and I'm talking first of the overall picture, not just of your constituency, leveraging Prime Minister Modi's brand equity?
I thank our Honorable Prime Minister and all the ministers and the national leaders who have been visiting Tamil Nadu quite often and supporting us. This has given a moral boost and support to us. And all the candidates are working hard in the field and they are giving a tough fight with the Dravidian parties where the strong.
An unprecedented and historic election. A vote that decides Bharat's quest for greatness.
A mandate that paves the way for 1 billion aspirations.
A verdict the world is watching closely.
A battle for a rising Bharat's glorious future. Battle for Bharat. Elections equals CNN News 18.
Guruji. Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days, are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise.
An unprecedented and historic election. A vote that decides Bharat's quest for greatness.
A mandate that paves the way for 1 billion aspirations.
A verdict the world is watching closely.
A battle for a rising Bharat's glorious future. Battle for Bharat. Elections equals CNN News 18.
Presented by Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilisai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favoured by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilisai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time out. I know that the campaign is upon you and you've been out there every day of the week. How much is the BJP's campaign in Tamil Nadu, and I'm talking first of the overall picture, not just of your constituency, leveraging Prime Minister Modi's brand equity?
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Will he, won't he? Usually used in the context of love, but in this case it's about war. Will Netanyahu attack Iran? His war cabinet is divided. The United Nations is concerned. They fear Israel will attack Iran's nuclear facilities. If that happens, how will Iran respond? Where do its allies stand? How will they support Iran? Also, does Netanyahu to navigate this one? We'll discuss all of this and more as we track the latest flashpoint in West Asia. Meanwhile, NATO has issued a new warning. Russia is planning an undersea attack. What does that mean? After Tesla, will Elon Musk's Starlink be launched in India? What is the Saudi foreign minister doing in Pakistan with a delegation? Why did German Chancellor Olaf Scholz go to China again? What is G42? How does it find itself in the middle of the US-China tech war? And what's the new black hole that scientists have discovered? It's said to be 33 times the size of the sun. All this and more coming up. The headlines first. In India, a top Naxal leader is killed in an encounter in Chhattisgarh. Security forces eliminate more than 15 other Maoists and recover a large quantity of weapons. 3 soldiers were injured in the gun battle. This comes just 3 days before the general election begins. The International Monetary Fund raises the global growth forecast to 3.2%, lifting India's forecast to 6.8% and upgrading the outlook for the US and Russia too. But the projections for France and Germany have been cut. Eurozone's top 2 economies, and they remain unchanged for China. Nigeria's inflation climbed to a 28-year high in March. Soaring food and energy costs are behind this spike.